it's Lizzie. So I feel like a big theme on this channel when it comes to my relationship advice videos is empowering everyone to make a move, talk to someone, tell them how you feel. I'm a very assertive, take charge type person, and through the years of my YouTube channel, through the past 7 years, I've gotten so many messages of people who they want to talk to someone, they want to get to know someone, and they just do not know how. I made a video earlier this year called How to Talk to a Guy, so this is how to talk to, no. I made a video earlier this year called How to Talk to a Girl, so this is how to talk to a guy. And also this year I've made other videos really similar. I made one called Reasons Why You're Single, and then I made another video why girls should make the first move, just explaining my relationship philosophy really in depth and like how it's okay to be assertive as a female. I've also made another video called How to Talk to Anyone. So those videos are all going to be linked up right here in a playlist called Relationship Advice, and they're also going to be linked in the description. Go check them out. Also, announcements real quick for my channel. So if you want to make sure you see my videos every time I upload, click the bell icon right next to the subscribe button and you'll get notified on your phone and on your computer. Also, I have a Patreon I recently started up, and we are more than a third of the way to my goal. Once we get to the first goal, I will do a monthly live stream every single month. So go get on Patreon if you're not yet. There's a ton of prizes, like me Skyping with you, following your social media, being in a video with me. Tons of prizes. So patreon.com/LizziesAnswers. Go check it out, and there's a video right up here and linked below explaining my entire Patreon. Also, before we get into the video, this is definitely a Harry Potter shirt. It says Quidditch Tryouts. I got it from Macy's. I love it so much. How to talk to a guy. So the first thing I recommend is to calm down and to not make it into more than it is. I think a lot of people, they try to idolize whoever they're interested in and think they're this amazing person, and then you get scared and you view them as not a normal person, and it's just really unhealthy for a relationship dynamic. So for me, when I talk to someone who I'm interested in versus anyone else, we talk about the same types of topics. Obviously, I might act happier or like a bit flirtatious vibe. I might joke around more. I also made a video on flirting. Wow, I'm just constant promo for my channel. This would be different for everyone, but my interests are really into theology and philosophy. So whenever I really like a guy, I bring up philosophical dilemmas, theology questions, and we just discuss things. When I was at college, I would talk about things I was learning in my classes and different Bible verses, but these are also things that I would talk about to my best friends. I hope that makes sense. You just want to talk about whatever you're interested in, whatever you love talking about. Oh, I also made a video, 20 things to talk about on a first date. That's gonna be linked here and below as well. And it just goes into depth on like 20 different topics and questions you can ask. So that will probably be really helpful as well. Something else really important to me is that I act completely myself and I don't tone down my personality. I know that I can come across as very confrontational, and that's something that I do not hold back on if I'm talking to a guy I'm interested in, because I want to be sure that he can handle me. You know, like I have a very extreme personality. I'm sure you guys have figured it out if you watched like 30 seconds of one of my videos. If someone is going to be a part of my life, they have to be able to handle my emotions and my intellect, and so I feel like that's something I always am very intentional and never changing when I'm talking to someone. A lot of girls I talk to, a lot of my friends will say, oh no, like I can't text that back, that's too intense, or oh, I can't act like this, like what if he doesn't like me anymore? And my thing is, good, figure it out as soon as possible if he doesn't like your actual self. I tone down my personality a lot, even on here and in my actual life around some of my friends, but when it comes to someone you want to be in a relationship with, you can't constantly be faking your personality. So be yourself, be your complete self from the beginning, and do not hold back. So in the How to Talk to a Girl video, I really focused on different scenarios, ways to talk to someone, and I think that is really important as well. So I was in a class with this one guy for a semester, and I actually wrote a whole blog post about this story that I'm gonna link below. It's called The One Who Didn't Care. I think it's really entertaining. But when our final exam was coming up, I messaged him and I was like, hey, like, can you help me study for this? I also had a question. I was writing a paper for another class, and he like knew a lot on this this topic. I asked him for advice like on my paper, and so this is genuine. I really needed help studying for the final, and I needed help with my paper. But the reason I'm asking him and not some other person in the class who could also help me is because I liked him. So it's kind of a bit manipulative and deceptive, but I don't see it as a negative thing. Other examples from my life, this is from years ago, but I was moving in the middle of the year. I mean, it was like September, but I was moving all my stuff from one dorm room into another dorm room. So a guy I was talking to at the time, I like texted him, hey, can you help me move all my stuff out of my apartment into the other apartment? And he helped me, and we got to talk for like 2 or 3 hours. People in general love to feel like they are needed. And so if you have something that you really actually do need help with, if someone is interested in you as well, like they'll jump at the opportunity to be able to help you out. So if you're in high school or college and the person you're interested in is in one of your classes, try to get in a group project with them, study with them, sit next to them in class and talk before and after class. Something really important is to ask questions and to be a good listener. I am more of an introvert, even though I'm really social and extroverted. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, like socializing normally, like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. All of that, like small talk stuff, I had to kind of learn. It isn't natural for me. But one time my dad was telling me, because he's a huge introvert, he's an INTJ. I did my whole INTJ series. The comments were hilarious. A lot of people wanted my dad to come in a video, like they loved all the stories I shared. But one thing he told me once that just has always stuck with me is just ask questions and make other people talk if you don't want to talk. So if I'm ever nervous when meeting someone, don't know what to say, I just ask them questions and force them to talk and then ask them follow-up questions. And what I found with myself is that when I listen to people, I'm very intentional and intense about it. So I will like face my body to theirs, I will nod, I will react with facial expressions and sounds, and I'll get really into whatever they're sharing and like visualize it in my mind, the story that they're telling me. And so I find that people open up to me so much. They're extremely emotionally vulnerable, even strangers I meet, just because I'm showing with my body language and I really care about what they're saying. And so if you want to get to know someone, show them through your body language, focus on them, and instead of thinking of what you are going to say next, get involved and engrossed in the stories they're sharing. But I think it's also really fun to keep things lighthearted. So joking with people is something I'm really into. I love teasing people and making fun of them. This is the definition of flirting with someone. I smile a lot and I laugh a lot. That just will make the guy feel very comfortable and safe, and he'll feel funny. People like making other people happy, and so if you feel happy when you're around this person, then act happy. Just be how you feel. Some other examples from my life. When I was a freshman in college, I got this one guy to help me with my logic homework. I was so bad at logic, my first philosophy class. I'm not sure why, I was just really awful at it. He basically tutored me. I was just doing my homework and he was like walking by where I was studying, and I was like, ugh, I hate this. And he's like, I'll help you. And he just starts like helping me with my homework, and it was something that stuck. He would help me study. And what I talked about in my video, reasons why you're single, I talked about how if you're outside, especially like on a college campus, if you just spend time outside, you will pass by people and people will come up and talk to you, or you can notice people and go up and talk to them. But if you're in your room all the time and you're only with your group of friends, you're never just like out and about by yourself, then you're gonna lose a ton of opportunities to talk to people and to get to know them. Another thing I do a lot that really helps me in getting to know people is I have group events and I host them or I create them. And I feel like in college this is a lot easier because everyone lives within the same proximity together. But a lot of times I would host a ton of people over to my apartment. I would make dinner and my friends would be there and I can invite someone else, or we would go hiking, or everyone's just going to the caf to get food together, or we would have campus ministry retreats and like everyone would be going. So if you're already doing something with your friend group and just a ton of people are going together, just invite the person to tag along, and it's really casual and there's no pressure, and it's just a way to spend more time with them. I think that in general it's a lot healthier to get to know someone in a group setting rather than one-on-one, because one-on-one it's really fun and it's this rush, but it can be so intense, and I think it's really important to get to know someone gradually rather than all of a sudden being super emotionally, spiritually vulnerable. I have the tendency to be way too emotionally open, and a few times in my life it has backfired and created so much pain and having to lose people I really care about. Obviously that happens in relationships sometimes where you break up, but I feel like for me it's happened unnecessarily just because it's been no emotional boundaries. So that's why I think if you're doing a group event and then you invite someone to come to that, it's a way to just allow the relationship to progress at a normal, slower pace. I feel like in college though, when I was interested in someone, I would always invite them to whatever clubs I was a part of. And so you can always just add on extra people, invite them to whatever you're doing. So another example from one of the guys I was talking about earlier, and I talked about it in the article, The One Who Didn't Care, that I wrote. You guys really need to read this. It's really long and in depth. It's just the whole story of like that whole, I don't even know what to call it. It wasn't a relationship, but it wasn't just friends. Anyways, but I was talking to this guy. My friend's birthday was coming up and I was gonna bake her a homemade cake. I had moved out from my main dorm room that had my kitchen into another dorm. And this new dorm, like it had a collective kitchen, so I definitely could have used that kitchen. But I really wanted to talk to this guy and he had a kitchen in his dorm apartment. And to be fair, I don't want to use like the group kitchen. I don't know, like I feel like that wouldn't be cleaned very well. And so this is what I mean, where it's kind of manipulative, but it's kind of not. And then this same guy, like he totally saw it through me, but he was fine with it. I had 2 roommates at the time and they were always just hanging out and I had an actual class to study for. And so I would ask him, hey, can I come over to your apartment to study there? It's so quiet, I love it. Which is true, I wasn't lying at all, but it was kind of like you have this ulterior motive where you want to spend time with someone, so you come up with an excuse as to how to spend time with them. That's what I recommend doing, finding excuses to spend time with them, why you need them, why you need to use their apartment. So don't think of it as manipulating people, just think of it as orchestrating events in a specific way so you can spend time with someone who you want to get to know. So for sure, check out my entire relationship advice video playlist, and all the other videos I mentioned are linked below, which go more in depth on this topic. Check out my Patreon, patreon.com/LizziesAnswers, and my website, LizziesAnswers.com. I post relationship advice on my blog and I talk about my personal stories as well. I love you guys so much and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Can't blame me for trying. You know I'd be lying saying you're the one. That could finally fix me. Looking at my head